right. So let's see. All my stuff keeps closing in here because I have a. What happens when that comes up?
What? Service battery.
Have you ever seen that on a Mac?
I've never seen that.
Yeah, something's not.
Fairly new.
I've had to replace my this charger thing just this last week, and now I have the thing that says service battery.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm gonna have to replace that thing too. Mine is like it's yellow at the end of it. I don't know what that's about. But
Oh, mine was frayed for years. Yeah, this laptop's not that new a laptop.
well, yeah. Wait, no, it's not that new.
Yeah, this is mid 2012.
Really?
Yeah, it was just completely like maxed out. It was like almost a $5,000 laptop in 2012.
That's the newest Mac. Well, no.
Yeah,
they made
this
it
is
new.
the Retina mid 2012. This was the original Retina.
Oh no, I get the 13. I thought you had the
That
2013
was-
one.
That was 5,000.
Something like, I mean, it was whatever was completely maxed out
Oh,
of the
yeah,
Retina.
I thought you had the 2013 one.
Well, but I'm not going to replace it. I'm waiting until Apple.
It doesn't have the HDMI.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, that's the 2013.
Oh, no, I do.
Really?
Yeah, and I have an SD card slot. Do you have one of those?
Yeah.
I have a hookup for
I
a.
got that in 2013. Like,
I just showed you.
I know, but I swore that's when you got that.
Oh, it's possible I got it like maybe in the fall of 2013 or something
Okay.
when it actually came in, but it's a mid 2012.
Okay, whatever.
But I'm hoping in March they announce the new MacBook Pros because this thing's been overdue for being refreshed.
Yeah.
And then I'll hand this down to somebody and probably give it to my wife. Give her the piece of crap. Except I won't have all my stickers.
Oh yeah, those are going to be pretty much impossible to transfer.
Although I have a bunch of these extra ones, but I don't have these. So I might have to contact them. But I should have thought ahead and gotten extras of each of those for. Oh well, what are you gonna do? Okay, so I need to get. What do I need to get open here? Sublime. A new Sublime? Is it Sublime 3?
Yeah.
Really?
You can open folders in that.
Okay.
And then they're like all on the left. Yeah. Very useful feature if we're going to be writing web interface.
Actually, I would have thought this thing not have a check for update. Oh, because you have to get this will update within 2. Man, so what was I even using that for? I can't use out of date stuff. I didn't read that as like a new product. Oh, because the old one's called Sublime Text 2.
Sublime Text 3 is called Sublime Text.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
that's what I was thinking. It'll let me pick a folder. Where did we put this stuff? Was it on my Dropbox? Project Snowman. All right. We need to make this bigger, right? Well, let's. Is that readable? Okay, so let's get everything back up and running. And then we want to do some organizational stuff first. mean test, dump that. Dump that. Leave that open for right now. Leave that open. That. Okay. Okay. So this is that folder. Let's see, what are we? Oh, that's right. We don't have a local node or anything. We're hosting everything just through Angular, right? Okay, so we probably want to start moving some of these things. If I open up index.html, let's go ahead and do that just for testing purposes. And then we want to start compartmentalizing some of these things just to build in our own MVC effectively, right? All right, user. What usernames were we using? And then ABC123. Okay, so let's start off by having it work exactly like this, but getting things compartmentalized into some other files. It'll make our life a little easier, I think. All right, so when we look at this, all of this is HTML, right? And then we have this script down here, which is JavaScripty stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to steal this, just the script part. I'm going to copy it. And we're going to call this guy right now, let's just call this guy, for the sake of argument right this second, index.js. All right. Actually, let's call it index controller.js. That'll be good. So can I right click and create a new file? Oh, nice. So this is index controller.js. And I'm going to go ahead and paste that script in there. And actually, I don't think I need the script tags because I'm not asking it to process it as HTML. So it should look just like that. And then up top here, I want to do this. And the source is going to be index controller.js. And then I should be able to dump that, is the theory. And I think this syntax should work. When you don't see all these scripts don't have a closing tag, or the closing tag doesn't have anything between it, you can fake that by just putting a slash before the normal angle bracket. So that should work, I believe. Let's find out. Ruh-roh. Didn't seem to like that. It did work? Did I screw up something on mine?
Right click inspect.
I'll put a forward slash. Yeah, let's just play by the rules. Maybe that's why it does that. Huh. I thought that I wonder why you can't do that.
Why would you be able to do that?
Well, like you can, I didn't do it here, but you can do like BR/ like that. Maybe it's because you had something, I had something in there. Like this is legal to do a BR/. In fact,
Well, yeah.
because technically BR should have a matching. In fact, this is poorly written. This is basically garbage HTML that we're looking at here. You see, I had this one here.
Yeah.
So I intermixed good code. But then these were, yeah. It can't be right. You got to be able to do this. Weird. It's got to be something with script specific. Okay. Well, in any case, we have our, we're able to get our index controller moved into there. And what I'm actually going to do is we're going to create a folder in here. And we're going to call this guy the scripts folder. And we're going to move our, can I drag this stuff? That's crap. Yeah, why aren't we using Atom? Just garbage. All right, so now this guy is actually in scripts. Slash that. I assume he traced it. Oh, that's just garbage. This isn't even a good editor. You see that? It didn't track that I moved it. So like when I saved the other one, it just resaved it in the original place. All right. Nailed it. Okay. So now we should have a more compartmentalized thing. So let's go ahead and look at our index controller. Because we want to do a couple different things here. We have a an overarching login validation script that's on every page, right? And we've repeated it throughout multiple pages in our app right now. So what we want to do is we want to write that once and then include it on every page. All right, so let's see. Index doesn't really have that in it. Index, this is our main login function. Yeah, that just gets us to, actually right now it just gets us where? Oh, and then home is doing our redirect right now. So we need to figure out a better way of doing that. Okay. All right, so now let's go and let's look at home. Oh, this is going to help a lot because don't we have a bunch of script stuff in here? Okay, so here's our home controller. And the first thing we're doing is we're getting our auth data. So this detects if we're already logged in, right? Isn't that what this guy's doing? So ref get auth, and our ref is so we probably could move, we could probably call this like login redirect. Let's see. This guy's called controller. I'm just going to steal all the JavaScript there for a moment. Actually, I need to get this too, right? We're going to break that apart, and we're going to attach controllers to different tags. So maybe we actually do it as like the header or something like that for our login controller on each page. So let's go here. New file. Save this guy as login. Let's see, what is it? Login redirect controller.js. Paste all that in there for right now. We'll call this guy a login redirect. Okay, here's our ref auth data. Get rid of that. If we currently are authenticated, we'll find out where our role is, and we'll redirect to wherever. So if it's equal to provider, redirect there. If it's equal to admin, redirect there. Else, if data.val is equal to, what was it, just user is the normal one? It sounds legit enough, but is that the case? Of our Firebase. Yeah, user. Well, in this case, we're going to have to, because right now we don't, because it's inside a home. That's where we want to keep them, but now we're moving it into its own module that we're going to have govern every screen. And we're going to have it redirecting right now, but we might change the way this is working for smoother redirects. That's what we're going to figure out today. But right now we're just trying to get pieces pulled out of our cluster of JavaScript so that we have reusable chunks of code to handle authentication and whether we're already authenticated. So we'll have it go ahead and redirect to home.html. All right. So realistically, this is probably what we'd want it to do on the main page. And then if the main page is, so let's think about this. We come into the main login page. If we're already logged in, we want to have it go ahead and redirect us. If I try to go to one of the pages further into the site, we need to find out whether or not we're allowed to be there. And if we're not, I think last time we were redirecting them to where they were supposed to be, but it seems like maybe a good catch-all might be if they're in the wrong place, that means they tried to hit the site indirectly. Maybe go ahead and log them out and send them back to the home page. That might not be the wrong thing to do. So if I try to go to the admin panel directly, and I'm not an admin, then it's going to say, well, you're not already logged in. You're not supposed to be here. Even if I was logged in, let's say I was a normal user logged in, and I tried to hit the admin, then it probably should go ahead and log me out and redirect me to the login page, forcing me to log back into the system and go through the pages using normal channels rather than direct links. At the very least, that doesn't seem wrong to do that. So this guy let's just move it out right now. It'll still be sluggish, but the concern is what Curcio just said is, do we want it to redirect this guy? Well, if we're making it generic, we have to. But at the same time, if we're already on that page, we don't want to send them someplace else and have it get caught in this infinite loop. Am I logged in? Yes, redirect to home. Am I logged in? Yes, redirect to home. Forever and ever and ever. So we need to have a way of knowing what page we're currently on. So let's think about the.
Can you check the page, what page you're on first?
I think we might be better off, instead of thinking about a specific page, thinking about whether or not a role has access to a page. So we might have a access JavaScript that we bring into every page that is effectively a mapping of what roles have access to what pages. Go ahead.
Well, in the if statements, can't you just add and to see if you're on that page or not?
We can, but we need to find out how do we ask Angular what page we're on.
It's right there, isn't it?
Right where?
Is it window.location.href? Or is that just? And then
Oh, does that give us the current page? That's actually reasonable enough. Let's see. We do it. Let's just do it up here. We'll do it in index controller. Is it console log like that? All right, let's see what that guy looks like. Except we have the full.
Well, aren't we just setting it previously to the shortened path, so it wouldn't matter?
What?
If you're going to be comparing it.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say, is this.
Return that full path, and imagine once it's launched on some web server.
So, I mean, we could just parse it and just get everything after the final slash. There's got to be a better way of,
So you can split it on slash and grab the last.
yeah. JavaScript. Let's see. So we want to see best practices for Angular authentication. Let's see here. Okay. We could do it with Angular as a whole. We can conditionally show things on a page. This is kind of what we have. We have a role value set up. So do we have a single page? Instead of sending them to multiple pages, we have various we can do this as like a single page application. Then we wouldn't have any redirect stuff. These NGFs, this says only show this if this guy exists. So current user, where did current user come from? I think that's where's the log it up here. Yeah, current user equals user, but he starts off as null. So we could actually, that actually might be a cool way of doing this, where we log in and all of a sudden that div that's associated with the login thing disappears, opening up another div that now we have a new role. We're authenticated. Rather than take us to a new page, we just stay on this page. And we're shutting down parts of the page. What do you think? One concern is that that makes the HTML tougher, but we're not showing that much stuff. And then we never have to leave this page. We could just rely on Angular being. Let's try that. Let's experiment with that here. I wonder why I can't see out of either eye. Should it be concerning? I keep having like moments of, yeah. All right, you enter, you're in charge if I go down. What's up? Dang, you got this?
Oh yeah.
All right. What was I doing? Oh yeah. So we're gonna go to our index controller. So when we log in, here's our function. We try to authenticate. Here's the else. So rather than redirect them someplace, what we're gonna do is we're gonna basically toggle some variables here. So we're gonna say $scope. Is that how we define variables with the scope? Yeah. Dot show show login is equal to true. And then back here in the index page for, here's our controller. Yeah, we can actually do this with separate controllers too. That might be pretty good, I think. But let's start off with this. So I'm going to actually create a sub div in here. And this div is going to be ngf. Just steal that and change it. Is code big enough? I was asking myself that question. All right. So ngIf, and our variable was called show login. I don't think we can give it a value. I think it's either null or something. So Well, I don't think we have it true or false, but I don't think we can test it in here. Here, let's just do a search on ngIf and see how it works to see if we can actually give it a Boolean expressions or it's always null or not null. That's if checked. If it's falsy, then the element is removed. If it's truthy, a copy of the... Huh, okay. Well, let's try it. We're doing this as a Boolean, so if show login is true, we'll do this. We'll have them log in, and then what we'll do is inside of our index controller, rather than redirect them, we'll set show login to false. All right, so the theory is we should be able to log in, and then it should disappear the reload this user1 at user.com, and then ABC123. Are we convinced anything happened there? Let's try starting it off as false and see if we refresh if it does anything. Yeah, it doesn't. So I think starting it off as null should. Oh, beautiful. It's called show login. And then here we called it show login. And this is form controller. Which is right here. Is it the div inside of a div it hates? Alright, so this is on show login, and we are starting it off as null. Still printing that out, we don't need that anymore. Okay, so it didn't like the div inside of the div. So let's start it back at true. And then we switch it to false in there. That's good. It's gone forever. What's this? Well, it worked to disappear it the first time, and I can't bring it back.
You're still logged in.
Well, no, it has nothing to do with actually logging in. Because I'm not, oh wait, hold on, do we have the login code? Oh, it shouldn't matter.
You should, but you don't have a button to log out, so that it won't bring you back.
But this has nothing to do with, I mean, when we reload that page, show login should immediately get set to true.
Then it goes back to resets it back to false, doesn't it?
Only when I hit the login button. I mean, this is the function that the login button calls. We're not doing the auto login on the screen. We don't have that added in here. So this whole div should be on and off depending on whether show login is there. So why don't we console log show login? So it should be true. Really, it should always be true, but we should see it refresh each time. Okay. Yeah, see, that's weird. Index controller JS show login. Since we're not making changes to the HTML, does it not think it has to reload it? So as the controller loads, form control, oh. That's the issue. We need to do this. I think we need to do this. We need to do the ngIf last. Because that controller is never actually getting called. Which means we don't have a show login to begin with. Let's see if this makes a difference. See if these are being processed in a specific order. If I just take the show login part out of here, it should definitely come back now. Okay, there's my woot and my true. All right, so it seems to be dangerous. Do that. To do a ngIf on the same line as the app because it prevents the controller from loading. Let's see what happens with that. Okay, controller loaded, that's good. User1 at user.com, ABC123, login, croaked. Oh, got an error message. ABC123. What are we doing? Auth with password. First argument must contain the key email with type string. console username. It's just dead. Let me see, 1, 2, 3. Okay, it says undefined. So
Go back to your form.
it has to be that we took because we did this. We have to find a home for that. This idea sounds so good on paper. Yeah, it knows about it now. So I guess we can still authenticate and then take them into the system and then show the various parts depending on who they are. So instead of a 1-page app, we could do it as a 2-page app. Because this definitely seems to be problematic. So on the top of that second page, we'll do a login auth that says if they're not logged in, we'll send them back. Otherwise, if they are logged in, then the if should let it spill through and show the different parts of the screen that they're allowed to see. So we'll initially show it as 3 tiers that are on or off depending on who they are. So if it's an admin, all of them will be on. If it's a user, one of them will be on. If it's a provider, the other one will be on. That should be a good test case for this. So having said that, back to this guy, we will redirect them to home. We won't do the show login thing. So we don't need that or that. All right. So now we'll turn our attention to home. And I'm going to steal this script line. So we're going to need that at the top of home.htm. And we're going to bring in login redirect controller. Okay. And login redirect controller is called login redirect. And we're going to do that on do we even have to give it an app name? Yeah, we did. So we called it home. All right. This is going to be login redirect is the name of the controller. That guy should get called right away before any of this even shows up. And we'll let them, they'll be able to log out. Right now we have all of that code over here, right? we'll come in, we have our login redirect. It'll show them the same stuff we had before on the screen. We should be able to hit log out, and then if we come back into this, the login redirect controller, well, this is redirecting. So actually, let's get rid of that stuff for right now. All right. So if they're logged in, currently do nothing. Otherwise, we'll relocate them back to index.html. So that should show us it working. So that's what login redirect does for app home, controller login redirect. And this other crap is stuff that we won't necessarily use to begin with. Okay, so we are currently logged in, which means I should be able to go to home.html and it won't kick us out. Okay, so that's this. Now if I log out, that's going to take us back here. Now if I try to go to home, it kicked us right back here. All right, that seemed to be what we wanted from that perspective, right? I don't know what the, was he snoring?
What?
Was he snoring? Yeah. Bubbles in the water. Now that we're good.
The bubbles in the Mountain Dew.
Actually,
Yeah,
not enough.
right.
Not enough. I've noticed that recently, that Diet Mountain Dew goes flat very quickly. It's something's not right. I mean, that's almost an unnatural. Because like Coke or Diet Pepsi stays pretty bubbly for a while. Maybe that's why you shouldn't be drinking diet soda, right? Maybe that's why I can't see. I wonder what it is. Maybe my eyes are just tired. I mean, it's not like my vision's going in and out, just it keeps going blurry.
So is your hearing.
What's this?
So it's like,
My hearing's bad?
Yeah.
Why? What do you got?
You didn't say so is, or that's why your eyes are bad.
No, I said that.
Oh,
I complained about my eyes a few minutes ago, didn't I?
yeah. No, but when I said it's because of aspartame, you said it's because of.
No, I heard you say aspartame. Yeah, because that's the fake sugar.
Yeah.
And I said, so then I was following on to that maybe the aspartame is why my eyes are screwing up. Because the aspartame is supposed to like be bad for you, right? I drink just tons of that per week. Like I probably, I don't know, like a metric, no, not a ton in a week. Maybe in a decade. Maybe 3 cups. Maybe a quart. Quart of aspartame a week. It sounds bad when I say it like that. All right, so this seems to be kicking us back now. So let's go back into login. So really what we want to say is if not auth, kick us out. And I'm going to leave this code commented out for right now because we might be able to use some of that example code here in a few minutes. Otherwise, if I'm still kicking here, then we're logged in. We'll just say we're logged in. We don't necessarily know what kind of user we are yet. So we're going to go ahead and give ourselves 3 sections in our code. So this guy is our app controller. So we're going to stop it here for that. This is going to be the controller for login redirect. So now we're going to give ourselves another controller for let's do this one for the body. So we'll call this guy the body controller. You got to say that creepy in your head when I, right? What's up? Oh, pool data, that's right. Okay, so this is body controller, so we need to go ahead and let, oh, can we move that guy? We can't move him up.
Can't move what up?
The controller for body.
You can do it at the div level, right?
Yeah, I can. So maybe we call this content controller. Maybe that'll be better. Because what we're going to have is we're going to have sub-controllers inside the one. We wanted to have that top controller happen very early on in the code. That way it will redirect us out of there before crap starts popping up on the screen. And the thing is, we could have done it at the HTML level, but we didn't have our scripts imported yet, and I don't know if we can import a script before the HTML opening tag. I don't think we can, because the browser wouldn't be in the mode of looking for HTML stuff at that point in time. So we'll call this content controller, and we'll put this on an initial div. All right, so we're going to call this guy ng app is equal to home still. ng controller is equal to content controller. All right, and he's going to govern the stuff. I wanted to say from this point on. Here, let me put a then I need a slash div here at the very bottom. Did we find that there was a reindent? Selection. Who? Is there a reindent thing in this? Curcio? You seem to know all about this. It's like, oh man, the folders are just epic. I don't use that.
Pushing for Sublime.
We could have switched to any editor. Expand selection.
Oh, yeah.
Is Adam really that good?
Yeah, syntax. Control A, view, syntax.
It's under where?
Go to syntax, or view, and then we drop down to syntax. Or is it, it might be indentation right next to it. JavaScript. Syntax maybe.
Syntax is like highlighting it for the different languages.
Yours would be under HTML.
It's just a useless editor. We should be using Atom. All right, we're going to keep cooking. So that's the content controller. So this is for that guy. That's for that guy. What kind of code editor doesn't have an auto indent? It just seems ridiculous to me. Okay, and this is our next div. And we'll be able to then turn these individual divs on and off for the different roles to prove that this is going to do what we want it to do. Okay. So right now everything should show. Let's just make sure that that's the case. And user email is going to come from our content controller, which lives inside of let's move this guy. All right, there's content controller. All right, and then after, I guess we can still put it up there, but why load it if it's not, if we don't need it? So here's our content controller for this guy. Actually, let's just put it all at the top. I don't think we're going to have a performance issue here. All right, so content controller is still going to need this and this. But the assumptions we can make is that auth data will have data in it. We don't need to ask again because we wouldn't even be using this guy unless we had real stuff, right? I mean, I guess we could still wrap it. So if auth data, then do all this stuff that we couldn't do before. And is it going to indent it nicely? No, it's not. Perfect, thanks. Beautiful. Can I do multiple things at once? Can I tab that in? Oh, thank goodness for something. All right, Christian worldview. Okay, so content controller is going to still get the ref, go into our auth data. We're going to, well, we could probably assume that if we're using this stuff, auth data has something because we haven't redirected them back out, right? In fact, my guess is that was what we were getting that. If you noticed when after we logged out and I tried to go right to home, we saw like the little flash of red down the bottom. I bet you it was this line right here. We were trying to load into our email something that didn't exist. Or auth-data.password@email, this guy. We were trying to call password on something that didn't exist. Which that was the error message as we were bailing out. So we shouldn't see that anymore now with this guy. So we'll go ahead and give ourselves a user email variable in the scope, but that scope is only governed, in theory, from this point down. Well, anything inside that div is where that scope lives. So before that, we didn't have access to that. Okay. So we'll get our email, we show stuff, whatever. This is all the same stuff we had before. And where's our log out button? Is that in here too? It is. Okay. So I think we should be in reasonable shape with that guy. So let's go in, try this. We'll try to go right to home first and see if it kicks us back without red. No. Missing blah after argument list. Login redirect line 27. If auth data. Oh, we didn't close our Wait a minute. What's this guy complaining about? Controller, login redirect. Yeah, we're missing a, this is the function here on this guy, so this needs to have that on it. And then I don't think we had the variable app on content controller. No, we don't. So that needs to be there. Yeah, we didn't close the one on the previous screen correctly. Okay, I think it should be healthier now. Okay, so this was an Angular error. All right. So this would be auth data. Let me just try something here. It's going to be a very boring page for a moment. But let's just do the redirect part of it. Make sure that's doing what it's supposed to be doing. Yeah, see, it's not happy about something else in there. Login redirect, and this is in login redirect JS. Home, Firebase, login redirect. Data. It would show me my well, these?
Yeah.
Well, those are all with Angular.
Well, if you click on it, it'll take you to a site though.
Well, the problem is with, I mean, clearly the problem is with our code.
Yeah, no,
This is going to take us to, Google APIs and, stuff that has nothing to do with our code. So we're killing it before it got there. So this is, there's Angular, login redirect, not function, undefined. Did I save this? I think I saved this. I was thinking maybe you couldn't say not auth data that way. You had to do it this way. That should be fine. All right, well, let's take out more. There's Angular, there's Firebase, there's Angular Fire, there's login redirect controller inside of scripts. And then there's the content controller. I guess for right now, let's dump this since we're not trying to get that to work. Maybe those two guys are conflicting with each other. All right, that definitely seemed to be the case. So let's go back here, get those back in, take this guy back out. And then for right now, we'll take that out. Okay, and then log out should be housed inside of here. So let's add that guy back. So that's this code here. So this is the one he was really complaining about. So this is content controller. All right, let's make sure he doesn't immediately croak on it. Okay, he does. So there's something in content controller because we're not even using it in here yet. Let's get it to stop screaming. Home, content controller, data. Should not make a difference putting it down there, but let's just test that. What does he hate? Oh, I bet you it's that. Is it conflicting with the thing above? Yes. So this is our home content, which means now inside of home here, we should be able to put this guy back up top now. There actually in HTML, there is a slight performance benefit, especially if you have JavaScript scripts that do a lot of stuff, to put them late in your document, because JavaScript running or HTML running through our browser is an interpreted language. So it's going to process everything up here first and then hit this down here. So pages load a little snappier, but we're writing pretty small scripts here, so probably not a big deal. I'm also not sure how that plays into Angular. So my guess is if any tag has Angular stuff in it, then it maybe says I'm going to hold out till all the scripts are loaded anyways. So you might not gain anything from it. Okay, so that guy should be okay. Because we had two, home was talking to login redirect, and then we also had home for content controller. And I guess those two, you can't have different controllers for the same app. Seems like that to me. Or at least not in different files. Because it was saying it couldn't find the login redirect inside of content controller because content controller was effectively redefining the app called home. So now we're going to call this home content and content controller for this div. Just call it content or content controller. We called it content controller. Okay, so now it should be able to fill that stuff in the event that somebody's actually logged in using the content controller for the content and the login redirect to spit us back out. Oh, but we kind of took all the... Alright, so we should be able to do this then. Dump the else, save that, refresh this, takes us back here, user@user.com, except user1, right? And then ABC123, log in, takes us here, and it's flipping out about stuff. Entirely possible. We haven't had great experiences with div prior to this.
Within the body of the div, are they fighting?
Well, I wouldn't expect they would be. This is home content, and this is content controller. This is home content and content controller.
What do you need it in the body for if you're going to do it by the div? I guess is maybe a better question. You could always even you can even nest your divs and get some real.
Well, right. But the reason I was putting it in the body is we want to do our redirect very early on.
Sure.
I mean, it shouldn't make a difference whether we have it here and then in a div. You just can't put them both in the same.
Well, the body goes all the way down through the div. I mean, including the divs, right? It contains those divs, so does that.
Right, but so this is the subcontroller inside of that. So this section inside this div is controlled by the content controller as its most local scope, and then it has a more global scope of the login redirect. I mean, ideally, this guy would have been at the. Can we do this at the HTML level? But I mean, even this shouldn't matter. We can put it in a header. Because then, so you're concerned that it's conflicting because it hasn't ended. So that would be self-contained, and then the body could be governed by this content controller like that. So head is usually where we would put like the title. So we would say something like title, what would this be? Snowman main. Let's call this snowman home. That. Okay, so that seemed to be happier. And then if we come back here, we logged out, then we try to go back into home. Yeah, see, it's not letting us, I mean, it set the title as Snowman Home here, but it didn't bounce us out. Back to the same reason as before. Can I not say not auth like that? We're definitely not logged in right now. Yeah, I mean, we're not logged in. We're not authenticated. If I log in here, user1@user.com, and then ABC123, That takes us in. Now we have a real user logged in. If I hit log out and then I try to go back to home directly, we want it to bounce us out if we're not logged in. And it did that before, and it will still do that. So let's go back here for a second. Let me just take that out. Delete that for right now. Save that. Okay, then we need to see, we're doing it at the head level, and I don't think that's so. Is the soonest we're allowed to ask that at the body level? We could ask it at the body level, but not at the head level. Phrasing? All right. So it looks like the soonest we can ask whether or not they're logged in is at the body level. That worked fine. And now that we have it working, let me see if I can do the not auth data. That seems like it's perfectly reasonable code. So we'll try to go to home there. Okay, it bounces back, everybody's happy. Okay, so now this whole content controller thing. I realize it's not like the end of the world if we do everything inside of one controller, but shouldn't I be able to use multiple controllers? Angular multiple controllers. Yeah, they're doing it in multiple menu div. They look like they're doing what we're doing. content controller. We're authenticating again. But actually, we might not have to. Since this is inside, or we're going to get the scope of our parent. At least that's my thinking. So let's try that. Console.log scope.auth data. Let it print that. So it's inheriting the scope from the parent, and then we can add stuff to it. And that's for our content controller. In home, we can bring in content controller. Oh, hold on. Do we not need... If my theory is right here, that we get our parent scopes, then we would already have auth data here. We'd already also have a variable called app. Which means in our inner controller here, inside this div, we would actually not say what the app was. We would just say this is the content controller and let it inherit the scope for the app. So this is app is home, controller is login redirect. This guy defines the app for home, defines the controller for login redirect, does his redirect magic. If we're still cooking when we get to the first div, this guy is governed under content controller, which should have all the new stuff from content controller as well as all the stuff he inherited from login redirect, which is app, ref, and auth data. And then he should be able to do his thing. Let's see if that's the case. At least on paper, that sounds good. Okay, we're redirected here, so user1 at user.com, abc123, log in. Okay, well, at least it's complaining about real stuff. Auth data is not defined. Okay. So do we need to, oh, I know why. We're good. Was that dangerous? Is it dangerous to put auth data in the scope? Well, to prove the,
I think it's beneficial to have it in the scope because, like, say if you wanted to display, like, who was the provider of a specific service, like, as a provider.
we also need, if that's the case, we're also going to need the ref. Scope ref and scope auth data. Now, but app is a var. But since that comes beforehand, is he automatically packaged in with the scope? Like, is it like super? Let's see if this fixes the complaint about auth data. So we said scope.auth data is equal to this. And this guy is actually scope.ref because we're going to want ref in the scope as well. Okay, so that should be good. I think that should be good. Except do we need to log out then log back in because we came in under a different it doesn't know about auth data. Which means that varref var auth data. So it would want us to create, so these are local variables to the login redirect controller. Oh. Let's try that. We'll move those guys outside. Although, do we lose? No, we have Firebase there.
Why is that scope done?
It won't. It's not supposed to be now. So if we move these outside like global variables, they're accessible inside of the controller here. But the hope is they also then get passed in to the scope. So at this point, it has not complained that it doesn't know about app. Okay. So that's the inheritance model. We can, anything we put out here becomes part of the global scope of the app. Then we have local scopes inside of a controller that has access to everything out here and then also has access to stuff that he's defined here. And anything that we add to the scope here is produced inside of the app controller or inside of login redirect section in the code, which means that, oh, we don't have anything in here, but now in content controller, we're consoling data, or auth data. So there's actually, it's not scope auth data, it's just auth data. That's what we're consoling here. Yeah. Because he's not part of the local scope that was passed in. He's part of, I'm part of this app. And so that was a global variable of the app. Okay. We have that. Then we can do that stuff. Now we can have variables inside of here that dictate whether or not certain things are accessible, right? But in order to expose stuff, so this guy here, that scope variable, that's our mechanism to expose things to the interface. So that's MVC. So if we need something to be available to the HTML side of things, we have to do it in the context of this scope. So since we want to have flags that turn things on and off, so here's the user email, we have that. Actually, we still have token, password. Where's our role? Role was a have we associated roles with users yet? Yeah, that's in our, what used to be in here. Yeah, ref child role, child auth data, UID, on value. Okay, so this guy. We're going to do for all three. I'm going to steal that so we don't need it anymore. Well, we don't need it here. We're going to move it into the other controller. Okay, so now we're putting what we have access to. So let's actually just do up top here. What role are we? So we'll paste this back in. So we'll do ref child role dot child auth data dot uid on value. So if we're a provider, we're going to set certain things. So we want to have let's see. Let's just do $sign scope role is equal to, well, we'll just have it null by default. If we're a provider, we'll go ahead and set our scope to provider. Actually, can't we just set our scope to scope.role is equal to data.val? So this is set role to user, admin, or provider, like that, because that's the value data will hold there, right? So we'll go ahead and grab our role here, and this will expose it, since we're doing it through the scope, to the interface, which should then let us turn things on and off depending on who we are. Okay, so now we need to look at how do we do those expressions. So ngIf expression. Okay, that looks right. If all right, so this should let us do it. We'll just steal this. All right. Well, let's get it working first, then we'll see if we have a more elegant way of doing it. So we'll go back into home, and we effectively want to flag off certain areas, certain divs for different things. So we'll show everybody our email. Here, let's see, service name. We're gonna send requests, incomplete jobs. Okay, those are our 3 sections. So we're gonna do this, and we're gonna say role is equal to user. I think that should. So only if role is equal to user should we show that. This one is equal to provider. There's user, there's provider, and then this guy will be admin. All right, whatever. So then the last one everybody sees. Yeah, everybody will see that one. Okay. So let's save that. And let's go back in here. So currently we are a normal user, right? At least I think we are. Let's go ahead and we're going to say welcome, user email, dash role. So save that, refresh. So we're a user, so we have access to just user stuff. That looks legit. All right, and then we have some other roles, right? User2. User2 at user.com, user ABC123. Was this guy a provider? Oh, it was provider at user. Okay. Oh, no, he got it. It just took a second for it to finish authenticating, and then it showed the. That was the, not authenticating, that was the process of it looking up his role. So that seemed to do it. And then admin at user.com. He's an admin, and he has access to admin stuff. Okay, so now let's expand this a little bit more. We're going to say admin should have access to everything. Users should have access to just the user stuff. Okay, so let's make sure the logic will work first. So if role is equal to admin or role is equal to user, so I'm just going to throw this in front of all the other ones. And the last one is just for admin. Okay. So an admin should see everything. Come on. So we have the user stuff, we have the provider stuff, we have the admin stuff. All right, so he just sees the user stuff. And he just sees the provider stuff. Good.
How come the user didn't see incomplete jobs, or the jobs that they requested that were accepted?
Because I think I have that flag just for admin. I'm not saying that's the way it should be, and we were just proving that we could segment the thing and show certain stuff depending on the role. Okay, so let's, just before we take our break, I think he sent us, well actually let's do login screen template. So let's make this guy look decent. This looks decent. Oh, these are just images? How do we actually get the CSS for these? Oh, I see downloads at the bottom of them, yeah. Does this one look like a snow removal one? Or this one? This one here? So we'll have like a kind of a dark bluish theme. Does that seem legit? Moment of truth here.
We could go neon green for grass too.
Well, here's a greenish color. Wait, did we pick one? I'm thinking this one kind of matches the thing we were doing. I happen to like this because I like the color, but that doesn't mean it has anything to do with our application. I'm kind of an orange. I like orange. I don't hate this. It's kind of a neutral color, but yeah, I'm getting the feel. Okay, so this one. You like this one? So that's number 1 right now. What about that one? That one. That one. This one. Okay. About this one. Not as good. All right, decisions made. All right. What happened? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. That's still good?
Yep.
We like the look. All right. So let's see. All right, so we're gonna have to take all of these things and we're gonna have to put them in here. Good news is now we have the CSS, so we can use the color throughout without any trouble. Project Stobad. All right, so we're gonna need to, before I change this, I'm gonna rename this guy. We'll call this guy index 2. We'll paste this guy in here. And why don't we call this guy controllers? Controllers there. No, except we're not going to even use that one. And then controllers here, controllers here. And we'll open up index. Bunch of crap. Index 2. We're going to grab all of our scripts from up here. And we're going to put that inside of our index. Indent that. All right, and there's our login form and our style sheet and all this crap. Okay. So where does our actual form start? There we go. So our form, let's just steal this. Oops. Actually, it probably doesn't even matter. Form control, login. Go back here, so that's our username. So this guy needs to map to ng model username. don't even need that. And this is going to be ng model password. And then our submit button have ng click. ng click login. Let me in. I think. I was definitely thinking about it. Waiting for fonts, googleapis.com. Oh, well that's that one. Nice. Seems well, who knows? Is this just Concordia internet right now?
Yeah, I'm waiting on
All right, so why don't we take our 20 minutes, we'll just let it cook, and then we'll come back, because now things should start looking good, right? And then we can start creating our sections with our buttons.
Is there any way you can post that on GitHub right now?
All right. So you want, actually, you want everything we have, right?
I can, but I just want to see the.
Let's see. Okay, so we're gonna do get add dot get status. Okay, it seems it got all the files. All right, so we'll do get commit -m session 229.16 part 1. Then history rep push 144. Oh, you know how you requested I push something to Git when the internet's down? Oh, did it work? So it should be up on Git now.